Hey, what is up everybody? How are you guys doing? My name's Brian with Bluefoot Homestead. Thank you for coming and checking out this video. I really appreciate it. It has been super busy lately. I haven't been able to put a video together. Like this weekend, we were gone for 3 weeks, or 3 days, not 3 weeks. And yeah, that took the whole weekend. Last couple weekends have been busy, but anyway. Hey, here to make a video. I've been wanting to make this video for 3 months now. And finally I have everything together to be able to do it. So yeah, I want to talk about this harvest right. First off, I love it. I think it does a great job. Let me spin it around. So as you can see, I just finished a batch. I did some scrambled eggs, did some of the green beans. I picked a whole bunch out of the garden a few days ago. Had them in the fridge, cleaned them up, blanched them real quick, a little bit of salt water. Should be good to go. I ate one. They taste super fresh, really good, awesome. Still lots to do, whole lot to do. But about 4 months ago, I was doing a batch, came in after work. It goes into the extra dry time. So I don't have enough time. I can't really schedule to be here when I'm finishing a batch. So I put on 24-hour dry time. Whenever I'm able to get to it, I get to it. It's just going to be that much drier. Usually I don't have to go back and check it, weigh it, put it in for another, put it in for another hour and weigh it again to make sure it didn't lose any more water content and stuff like that. It's dry. So anyway, I came in after work and it had an error on the screen up here saying that it had a vacuum, not a vacuum leak. It was a vacuum problem that they had with it. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe it was just a glitch. Something happened. I ran another batch. It did the same thing. So insufficient vacuum pressure is what it said. So this is kind of a common problem with the harvest rates. I mean, I've looked up like the issues with it and stuff like that. And the ice is cracking behind me because I just finished a batch. And that was a common one that came up. And I just kind of wanted to go over what happens in this case. So I tried it one more time and it still kicked back the message. So I shut it off and it was done. I called Harvest Right. Talked to their customer service and they said, well, go ahead and update the software. You know, what software do you have? Did you update it? All that stuff? No, I didn't. So I had to go buy a flash drive because I don't own a flash drive and it has to be 8 megabytes or smaller. 8 gigabyte or smaller. I'm sorry. Believe it or not, those are pretty dang hard to find. I went to a couple stores looking for them. Surely Walmart's going to have a cheap flash drive, like a thumb drive or fire drive or whatever you want to call it. No, they don't have any. Best Buy didn't have any. Office Max didn't have any. So I had to order it online. So, of course, that one isn't Amazon Prime and all that kind of stuff. So I had to wait about 4 days to a week or something like that to get that. So that already put the whole thing down. I could have done multiple batches on here and okay, well, it is what it is. It needs updated anyway. So I finally got the flash drive, got the link from Harvest Right for the new driver, downloaded it onto uploaded it rather onto the hard drive and then downloaded it onto the system. Pretty easy. You just basically plug it in. It's got a USB drive. Turn the power on, it automatically recognizes the USB drive and does everything itself. So it's really easy to do that. Once it's complete, it goes back to the regular screen that you see here and you just take it out and your software is updated. So I went ahead and did that. It was a couple days before I was able to get back to test that to see, and then finally started a batch and got back the next morning. Insufficient vacuum pressure. So I'm like, okay. So I called them back and they kind of ran me in circles a little bit. I mean, I really hate to say that, but you know, almost like they didn't really want to admit anything was wrong with their product, but yeah, I'm still getting it. So they said, okay, well, we're going to go through an easy fix for you before we go any further on our part. We're going to send you a link. We're going to send you some videos. We're going to send you a scripted directions on everything to do. And you have to go get these 2 tapes. One is gas line approved, I don't know, nylon tape, I guess. Basically what you use for like plumbing and stuff like that. It's a little round about like that. White tape, a little bit stretchy. Wrap it around the threads, a thread tape maybe. Then you screw it all together and then it creates a seal on that. But it has to be rated for gas line, which is like a yellow, and it's got the approval, you know, OSHA approved 5665, whatever it was. So I'm like, okay, I go to Ace Hardware. Nope, they don't have it. Go to Lowe's, Home Depot. Nope, they don't have it. They claim they had it, but it was a different product. But they did send me links to Amazon for the exact product that they recommend. I just wanted to get it quick. I wanted to get it now and start the process because I don't have a lot of time to be working on this thing. So wasted a day running around to different cities and stuff like that to these stores trying to find the product. Couldn't find it. So I came home, ordered it online, and waited a little bit longer. That took another 4 days or so. It might even have been quicker. I think that one was quick. I think it was 2 days or 3 days. Where I'm at out here in the country, we don't have next day delivery or same day delivery like we used to have in Phoenix. So I get it. It took a couple days to be able to get to work on this thing and do what they were asking on it because I work a lot and I don't have a lot of time. I come home, take care of the chickens, do a couple minor things, and it's 7 hours before I got to be back at work. So that's just my schedule. So a couple days later, I finally get in here. I snapped some pictures that I needed to send to them. So I'll go ahead and post these as I'm talking here. But the hose that goes from the pump to the freeze dryer unit has got 2 ends on it. And they wanted me to go in and put the threading tape on there, tighten it down nice and tight, and do that. Then give it a test. Okay, so I was able to go ahead and do that. You know, it was a few days later, and I put the thread sealing tape on there, fired it up, and I had a batch ready to go. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe this will work, and threw the batch in, started it. Next day I come back, nope, it failed. So luckily, whenever it fails, it goes into the freezer mode. So it's not ruining the product or anything like that. I can just throw it back in the freezer, and I'm good till the next try. So that one didn't work. At the same time, I ordered the thread tape, the gas-rated thread tape. I also ordered a silicone tape, which I've never heard of before. And when I went to the box stores and stuff like that, they've never heard of it either. It's pretty good tape, pretty cool stuff. I think I'm going to order some more because that can come in handy for a number of different things. It's basically going to seal in any small leaks. It's silicone tape. It's about 1/2 inch maybe, but you can stretch it like 20 times, you know, the original thing. So if you pull off 2 inches, I mean, you can pull it way out like that. And that's part of the thing. You pull it, wrap it around something, and it kind of sucks onto it and creates a seal. So what that's going to do in this case is if there's any sort of leaking past the threading tape or in the hose or anything like that, they wanted me to go ahead and wrap the silicone tape around it. So I went ahead and did that, started the batch again, because I'm like, okay, well, I covered everything on this hose. So really, if it's going to be what they think it is, it's covered. So I threw the batch back in, came back the next day, vacuum failure. So at this point, I'm getting a little bit miffed. One, they didn't really fix anything. They're just telling me how to fix it. And I get that. You know, how many vacuum freeze dryer mechanics are around your city? None. You know, I mean, it's just not a thing. There's some people that are going to be able to work on it, but, you know, is Harvest Right going to trust them? You know, just some random handyman or something like that. Or, you know, they don't have any specialists in this field to be able to work on it. So guess what? If your freeze dryer breaks down, you are now the repairman. because they're not going to send anybody out. They're not going to take care of much. They're going to try to fix the minor problems before you got to spend $300, $400 to throw this back on a freight truck, ship it back out there, have them work on it, have them pay to ship it back again. You know, I mean, you could be looking at like $800 or something like that they're really trying to avoid paying. I get that. I do get that. But I was a little bit frustrated because I just don't have the time to be the repairman here. So I'm a little bit upset at this time. I just did their 2 fixes that they recommended and the thing is still not working. So what they wanted me to do is take off the side panel, back panel, and top panel. Get in there, and there's another hose that kind of where the pump hose connects on the inside to wrap that as well. Did that over a couple days, didn't work again. Now I am going through the process of elimination myself, which delayed it, and they wanted me to do kind of most of it all at one time. But it takes a little bit of time. I want to do a good job at it. I don't want to rush it or anything like that, which I ended up kind of rushing it and I was frustrated, so it wasn't the best job. It's a little bit sloppy, as you'll see in the pictures. But the next part is going in and taking care of that part. So did that. This time I did not throw a batch in it. I started doing the pressure testing like you do when you first get it. And it was getting down to about 1,000 millitorr, and it would start bouncing around. So it wasn't able to really drop below 1,000 in any time quick. That was at about a half an hour to 40 minutes. And it would just kind of hover, then it would slowly come down, and I was able to get it down to 500. They said, oh, well, you got to 500. It'll freeze dry at 500. That should be great. You should be good to go. And I'm like, well, no, it's really still not working. I'm not trusting it. They're like, give it a shot, throw a batch through it, and it should be working. Of course, okay. So I get my batch out of the freezer, throw it back in there, and of course the next day, guess what? Yeah, vacuum failure. So I call them back. Actually, not calling them. They want to do everything through emails. And the lady that I was dealing with, I'm not going to mention her name, was not the quickest at responding to my emails. I would go a day or two sometimes before I'd get a response. You know, I was a little bit upset about that. I have bugs flying all over because I'm basically outdoors in a way. I got doors and windows open, and yeah, I got a lot of bugs flying around here. Anyway, so the next process, I told them, okay, that wasn't working. That did not work. Then I'm like, what do you guys think about the pump? I know everything's basically new still. I've done, 15 batches, 20 batches or something like that. Shouldn't really be getting the failure, but if it's a pump problem, I mean, the pump makes the vacuum. So go to the core of what the problem could be, and that's the pump. They're like, no, we don't think it's the pump. Pumps don't really fail. 90% of the time, it's going to be these issues. So try this one more thing. And they had me go on, it's onto the top of the cylinder, and it almost looks like wires. There's a little smaller cylinder that comes out of the top. It's wrapped in this black protective coating tape, rubberized stuff. They wanted me to cut that off, peel it all off. It's insulated. Then there's 3 really small copper tubes. I think they're copper. They come out of the top of it that I had to cut that all apart, separate all those, wrap those in the silicone tape, all 3 of them, and then put them back together, wrap the whole thing from the base all the way quite past, maybe 2 inches past where they connect on that little cylinder, and go ahead and do that, and that should be it. Okay, no. Did another test batch. I just ran it with some water in the pans and ran the cycle. The test, I did a test beforehand and it seemed to work a little bit better. It dropped down to 500 in about 45, 50 minutes. It took like over an hour last time. It got to 1,000 in that time. So this time, instead of getting to 1,000, it got to 500. I'm like, all right, well, maybe, that was it. So I'm like, okay, cool. Grab my batch because I'm kind of confident this is going to work. Threw it back in, started the cycle, came back the next day. No, vacuum failure. So I'm starting to get a little bit upset at this point, you know, and I call her up. I'm like, hey, it's been a long time since I've been able to use the freeze dryer. And, you know, I really want to get this resolved. Is there anybody that can come out that's a professional on this, that knows the systems, that can do this? They said, no, not really. Like, it can be shipped back, but we want to go through every possible step before we do that. Again, I kind of get that, but at the same time, this has been months since I've had a successful batch. So it just keeps getting pushed back. It says, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk to the engineers. I am going to consult with everybody that I can to try to find out what's going on. I pulled all the data off of the unit, put it onto the flash drive, sent it into, it wasn't a Word document, but a document, and I was able to email it to them. All the failure codes, everything, and had the engineers go over it. And they're like, you know what? That last piece, that little tiny cylinder that sits kind of up here on the top of the cylinder, it kind of sticks out like this in a way, if you can make sense of that. And he's like, there's a felt washer at the base of that. Cut that off, because that has been proven to cause this insufficient vacuum seal in the past. Everything else isn't working, so this is kind of the last ditch effort to see what's going on. So I'm like, okay. So I take the vacuum, I keep wanting to call it the vacuum sealer, but the freeze dryer apart, and get back to that thing, strip all the stuff off that I did, all the silicone tape, reopened it back up, and sure enough, there's a little about lifesaver size piece of felt down at the bottom of it. So I'm like, okay. So I went to go cut it off, but the thing's glued to the bottom. So I'm in with X-Acto knives and different things, and you got to be real careful. You can't cut certain things, otherwise you're going to cause a leak. So I'm trying to get it, and it's not really coming off, you know. And I told him that I'm like, I'm trying to pull it off. I thought it would be like a washer, like you could, like on a battery terminal or something like that, to where you could just cut one slit and take it off. You know, no, it's like permanently on there. So I got most of it off. I did it the best I could. I took pictures of it, sent it in to Harvest Right. They said, yeah, that should be good. That's what we were looking for. You can't get it completely off because of the way it's mounted and installed on the unit. So they're like, okay, do another water test on it. Throw some water in there so I don't keep taking my stuff in and out of the freezer, and do another test. No, insufficient vacuum failure. Now, at this point, I'm getting pissed, and I told them that. I sent her an email, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm pissed. I'm going to call you tomorrow. I'm tired of this email BS. I'm tired of getting jacked around. It's been months. I'm done with this. Yeah, I'm done with it. You guys are taking it back. I'm getting a refund. I haven't had it a year. You know, it's been under warranty the whole time. It is still under warranty. Currently, it's still under warranty. You guys need to fix this. This isn't really my problem. I'm like, you know, I've went through what I thought. I thought it might be the pump or something like that. And, you know, they didn't really want to listen to it. They went through all their stuff and it's still not working. They're like, well, maybe it could be the pump. We'll try that. Oh, let me back up a second. The last batch that I ran after I fixed everything, took the felt off and all that, I ran the water bath in there, and I had oil shooting out of my pump, started smoking. It was extremely hot to the touch, and I just shut it down. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not turning it on, going to work overnight while people are asleep and have this thing catch on fire and burn the house down. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. She's like, okay, I completely understand that, you know, but I'm like, I was thinking it was the pump. The pump is massively failing right now, squirting oil all over the place and all this. I'm like, just send me a new pump and let's try that. If it doesn't work, I'll send it back to you. I don't have a problem with that. They're like, no, the part that fails. And I'm like, great, here we go again, you know. And the part that fails is, actually, let me show you. All right, so the part that fails are these two pieces. This is the cap that goes on the end of the pump for the Premier pump. If you know it, you know it. And this is the black fill cap. This is the old one here, and I probably shouldn't move it around too much because it probably still has oil in it. And also, you know, they were making sure I had fresh oil and it was at the right level, and I would show them a picture of the oil and the level of the oil and everything. So this is the other piece. I don't know why I'm keeping it. It might still be good actually, but so they're like, yeah, you're gonna need these two pieces. That's gonna be $35.97. And I said, what? You gotta be kidding me. After this, you're gonna sell me parts when you guys won't even send anything to, you know, fix it or get this all fixed up or anything like that. There's no way I am giving you money when this stuff is under warranty. And they're like, oh, well, this and this and this, and this is the only part that anybody ever has. I said, you know what? Here's my card. Send it as soon as you can. I want to get this fixed because I am about to explode. I am so upset that this is going on. So I paid for it, got it in the mail. It was pretty quick. Replaced that part, put the new fill cap on, put brand new oil from Harvest Right in there. I filled it to the halfway point, not all the way full. I think they recommend filling it to the full mark or the max or F. I've always known you don't do that. You keep it in the middle because it runs different levels when it's hot. You know, like on a dipstick for a car, you have an H and a C. You don't have a full and empty. You have hot and cold because whenever it gets hot, it runs at a different level than it does when it's cold, I believe. So anyway, I put it right in the middle, room temperature. That should be good. Fired it up. Those mTORs dropped down like I've never seen before. I think it was 15 minutes I was at 200. And I'm like, oh, okay, now we're talking. Now this really kind of seems like it's working. And they're like, is everything good? You know, can we close this ticket? I said, no, we are absolutely not closing this ticket. I will get back with you. I'll do a test on it and see how it goes. It's looking really good. I wish we would have done this right at first, but you know, you want to run me through all these hoops, and I kind of get it, but I was frustrated. So I threw a batch in there. It rock and rolled that thing in like 18 hours. It was done like styrofoam. Beautiful. Perfect batch. No problems. No issues. Nothing. It ran absolutely perfect. And I let them know that. I'm like, okay, I ran a batch. 100% successful. Awesome. I'm going to run 2 more batches because I am not doing squat until I got 3 successful batches with absolutely no problems. Then we can close the ticket. Then I will be happy, considering. So I ran 2 more batches, perfectly fine. I actually ran 4. I didn't tell them. I wanted to kind of prove myself that it's not ready yet because everything was a failure so far. And I was convinced myself that it was still going to fail just because of the record of everything. But no, 4 batches, perfectly fine. I sent them an email saying, rock and roll, we're good to go. But I still had to spend, you know, I think it was almost $40 after tax and stuff like that on the parts, which pissed me off. I'm not going to lie. I mean, really, guys? I mean, so yeah, anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about this little experience. So if you have issues with your Harvest Right, you know, plan on being the repairman. Plan on getting everything fixed yourself because they're not coming out to do it. I realize that it's a specialty product and you're going to kind of get that. I don't have a problem. Things weren't really difficult. It was more a time issue for me. And I learned something new that I want to buy some silicone tape because that stuff rocks. It's pretty good stuff. I could think of all kinds of things I could use that for. So yeah. But now I have done 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6 batches since we closed the ticket. Plus the 4 that I did beforehand. And things are coming out really well, really fast. Much faster than it did before by about 25%, which is cool. I don't know if that's the software upgrade or what did it, but yeah, this thing is just, it's kicking ass. I'm about to do a batch right now of some controversial objects to freeze dry for a rainy day. So yeah, one person I talked to is very mediocre for customer service there. Another person I talked to on shorter terms was excellent. Really good, really professional, apologetic, jumped on the issue better than the other person that I was dealing with. I was getting a little frustrated with the first person. But I got back in contact with the first person. She had some time off and continued that. And she was understanding of my concerns. It ended up being 4 months without my freeze dryer. The stuff that I could have gotten done with this freeze dryer in 4 months, I would have been a lot happier with. But I'm glad it's up and going again. I'm trying to bust out as much food as I can to try to make up a little bit of time, even though I'm running it 24/7, just nonstop, constantly. Might take a day off here and there, but cleaning, I'm due for a cleaning on it right now because I did some rainbow sherbet. Highly not recommended. Don't do it. Yeah, it looks like a fire extinguisher explodes in there. So maybe I'll do some videos on failures with it, but yeah, I've got some nice perfect batch, scrambled eggs ready to go. Really happy with it. It's kicking butt right now, but yeah, be warned if you start getting some warnings or failures or something on your system like that. Just kind of be ready on what's going to be coming because it's not what I expected at all. So I figured I'd share it with you guys. So, all right, well, I'm going to get this puppy cleaned out. I'm going to start my next batch tonight. Hopefully it'll be ready tomorrow before I go to work. If not, you know, I got my 24-hour window of extra dry time on it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and close it up. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button on the way out if you would like. Hit the subscribe if you would like even more. I would appreciate it. Till next time, I'll talk to you guys then. Peace.